So, what is the principle of reciprocity? In the Analects, the chapter of Wei Ling Gong, okay, one of Confucius' students, Zi Gong, he asked Confucius, is there one word which may serve as a rule of practice for all one's life? The master said, well, is it not reciprocity? What you do not want done to yourself, do not do it to others. Well, you might consider this as such a simple idea, right? Even a child knows it. Well, I think that's exactly the point. But most of the time, adults who rule the world forget the basics. Now, when we consider Confucius theory, we must think of the word of benevolence. And, as we will see in a later chapter, in Chinese characters, the word benevolence shows a picture of two persons. Okay. So society is formed by the gathering of people. And society is the foundation of human survival. Wouldn't you agree? And benevolence and reciprocity is the natural law that hold people together, right? The whole society together. And but none of this is man-made. None of this is artificial. It's just the nature. A little more than 10 years ago, I think it was at least 12 years ago, right? We experienced one of the most devastating global financial crises since the Great Depression of 1929. The crisis led to countless corporate bankruptcies, countless people losing their lifetime savings, and many people, committed suicide. According to my experience as a former a banker and a research career later on, many people blame the failure of the risk models as the cause of the crisis. Okay, and experts have pointed out that the models use unrealistic assumptions of very low correlation between the return volatility of mortgage-backed security portfolios and things like that. Researchers also have shown have also shown that unsustainable business model in the housing market, where mortgage borrowers' repayment ability was ignored by the lenders, who then repackage and liquidate these low-quality assets without penalty on the price. Oh, of course, thanks to the false understanding about these securities among investors and rating agencies, of course. Well, so what should we do? Well, what is our solution? Well, we can probably say that we can make changes to these business model by, restricting off-balance sheet financing of big banks. We can even ban the creation of all of the, mortgage-related securitization products. We could reverse Gordon Brown's light touch approach, as in the case in the UK, right? And scrutinize every single trade. And we can simply go back to the early 20th century and shut down global financial market altogether. Well, some of you may say, well, these are crazy ideas. Well, let me tell you, the even crazier idea is that very few people have realized that the cause of the problem is the complete overlook of the principle of reciprocity. The securitization derivatives are, I would say, they are a good invention because they provide liquidity to banks and give extra source of fixed income investment opportunity to ordinary households. So it's supposed to be a win-win solution. But the consideration of reciprocity is somehow lost along the line. And then greediness takes the wind, right? And the one's friendly product becomes toxic. Now, if you ask any trader, can you value these products? Do you understand these products? Now, here's a more important question. Would you put your own saving into these products? The answer is no. Then how can people sell them to pensioners and poor people and the poor people? We make mistakes. No economic model is perfect. It won't be. And no one can foresee potential turbulence. But that's not the issue. I mean, the great similarity embraced by the Confucius does not exclude the possibility of a rainy day or outbreak of disease, right? But the use of the principle of reciprocity and benevolence in our daily job is completely under our control. Whether it is executing a single trade or making economic reform, it is under our control. With about 3,000 years of experience, the ancient sages have warned us that benevolence is key to human relation, and a harmonious society is the key to happy human life. So I would say that the policymakers should really take the ancient teaching seriously, because great honor comes with great responsibility. But we will discuss the teaching of Confucius about this point in much more detail in a future lecture. Now, coming back to the principle of reciprocity, according to Confucius classics, despite of our mistakes, Confucius doesn't tend to blame anyone. In the Analects, the chapter of Ye, Confucius said, "The man who practices the principle of love, wishing to establish himself, seeks also to establish others. Wishing to develop himself, he seeks also to develop others." To be able to take one's inmost self for the judging of others may be called the art of applying the principle of love. So the other side of the principle of reciprocity is forgiveness. So that's why teaching is really important. And there's nothing wrong with a child, for example, with the child's wrongdoing, before he's taught to distinguish between right and wrong, because he doesn't know. Likewise, adults need to learn as well. So, as we will see, in traditional Chinese classics, much of the content are centered around the discussions between the sages, teachers, and the emperors. This is because emperors had much to learn from these sages. Now, of course, we cannot expect all economic agents to understand the principle of love and reciprocity in their daily conduct, but policymakers must do. They must understand. Apart from the technicalities and mathematical simulation, I would say the policymakers must consider the aspect of human nature. Thank you.